Welcome back to the homestead. All right, y'all. Things have gotten super weird in this world. And we're going to talk about that briefly. But more importantly, we are going to talk about what it means. You know, because, I mean, if you're like me, you're trying to understand Isaiah. You're trying to understand all these last day timelines. You're trying to understand, cryptocurrency and, finances and, geopolitics. What will the BRICS do? Is that going to be a threat to me and my homestead? And, oh my word, what about Russia and Ukraine? And what about China and Taiwan? And what about our microchips? And what is this fog? What's going on with the fog? And now we have all of this stuff with drones. Oh my God, they're drones and they're anti-gravity. And, holy cow, that's scary. Well, there's a major piece to that story that I do want to talk about. But I want to ask you this question. What does all of that matter? What does all of that mean? So if you're following any of those stories, and by the way, in the comments, add some other things that you're following. I'm not making fun of you for following those things. I follow every single thing I said. Way too much, probably. But my point is, if you're following that and you're not making preparations, then you are wasting your time. So congratulations, we have a lot of knowledge and we're doing nothing about it. So this video is to give you just a little bit of motivation to just step it up. We don't let off. And by the way, we don't do preps just because the world's scary. So I spent a lot of time when I was building this off-grid year-round greenhouse listening to, people that I really enjoy, like Appalachian Homestead. Patara, I listened to her for so many hours because I feel like she is some kind of like-minded kinfolk. I've never met her. I don't know her. She will probably never know who I am. But, when I'm building this greenhouse, I listen to like-minded people like that. You know why? Because they get it. So it is okay to learn all these things, and you should be learning them. But at the end of the day, if you're not doing any preps or if you're not doing anything about it, you've got a lot of knowledge and you're going to starve. So anyway, I do want to come in and I'm going to give you some images from the homestead while we talk about the drones and while we talk about the firework explosion at the Trump Tower. All of those things matter. And they matter especially because the end result is that you and I need to be prepared. So if nothing comes of all of this madness, and if Trump is inaugurated and there's no false flag event and there's no continuity of government bullcrap, then we have some food in our storage bins and we have more peace of mind. That is the worst case scenario with prepping. And funny enough, the best case scenario with prepping is that the world falls apart and you need your preps. I'd rather have the worst case scenario, right? I would rather have the worst case scenario. I've said many times, you decrease your anxiety if you're prepared. I can't follow the news because I'm so full of anxiety. Well, it's probably because you have no preparations. And instead of getting to work and doing preparations, you've chosen to pull the blinds down and you're on the railroad tracks. You're in danger. Your truck is stalled on the railroad tracks. And instead of doing something about it, you're pulling some blinds down on the window as that train comes barreling towards you. What that means is if you do not have an awareness that this world is on fire, you have pulled the blinds. Now, if you do have an awareness that the world's on fire and you're not doing anything, well, is that any better? Look at Mrs. Homestead out here. By the way, I'm supposed to be building her compost pit and I'm making you a video, so you better like and subscribe, dang it. This is another example. Why did we get goats? I was kind of anti-goat. And okay, all of you goat people, I apologize. I love goats. I think that they are a very fantastic prep because they are like this little tiny animal that can still produce milk like a big animal. Now these are miniature jerseys, but they still require a lot more milking and a lot more food than a goat. So again, I'm threading the needle. If things are falling apart and we're not doing anything about it, yeah, we're probably going to have a lot of anxiety. Okay, so to the crux of this, if you haven't heard this, you probably haven't turned on YouTube and probably don't subscribe to X and you're getting your news from the mainstream media, and you probably ought to stop that. But apparently, on the Shawn Ryan Show, there was this gentleman that came forward. He's kind of like a social media influencer, and he had been contacted by the guy that did the Tesla explosion in Vegas. Now, nothing makes sense with that guy. That gentleman, Matthew Littlesberger, is an 18-year active Green Beret. He has security clearance in our government that is so high. The name of it for you military folks is something like TSSCI clearance. That's the highest level clearance you can get. There are only 8 members of Congress who has that clearance. This guy knew crap. You know, it seems like a lot of people that have knowledge, that know stuff, they get suicided a lot, right? Anyway, that guy knew stuff. The other thing is that he was extremely proficient in explosives. So somebody like that if he wanted to go blow up Trump Tower, by the way, they say he was a Trump supporter, and then he wants to go blow up Trump Tower. None of it makes sense. But apparently, the fireworks that he put in a bulletproof car, like one of the main talking points of that extremely ugly truck is that it's bulletproof. No one is buying a Tesla for the way it looks. Nobody. That is not a conspiracy theory. That is fact. This guy is obviously a very smart and informed guy. And he puts a bunch of fireworks inside of a bulletproof bowl, which contained the blast and really was, if you truly thought about the engineering, that would be a way to make a point and not kill people. So I don't know. I don't know what's happening, but this interview that happened from Sam Shoemate, who was on the Shawn Ryan Show, you know, both of those boys were very nervous. I mean, Shawn Ryan's got millions of subscribers. That video, as of, you know, not even 24 hours later, has 2 million views. It's going to have a lot more shortly. Shawn Ryan was nervous. In fact, there was a breaking headline last night that he's gone into hiding. And I don't know how much, you know, on the run and how scared he is or is not. But he is leaving his house for a few days, and they're spooked because they basically just blew the whistle themselves, that this whistleblower had reached out. Now, the thing that the whistleblower was trying to tell to this Sam Shoemate was that, hey, by the way, there were some military operations where we, America, did some bad stuff, and it's being covered up. First of all, you can tell he was disturbed about that from the email. And if you haven't read the email, just Google it. You can find it. The second point that he said is that the drone phenomenon, yes, Vegas is, so not only are we tying the incident in Vegas with the horrible atrocity of New Orleans, where those people lost their lives through the other electric vehicle that just plowed through the street. Those two are connected, but now we have apparently connections to the drones. And this whistleblower, who apparently killed himself outside of the Trump Tower, was saying that those drones are actually from China and that China has anti-gravity propulsion. Now, the ramifications of that, it's hard not to get lost in all the layers of the story with all of the layers of what does that mean. I'll thread the needle for you very quickly. That means that if true, allegedly, China has technologies that can deliver a payload, we call those weapons, pretty much over any American city at almost an instantaneous notice. So back in the day, the American warships and aircraft carriers were a game changer because we could then take a military base on the water, a runway, and we could slowly, after 2 weeks, we could park it outside of an enemy's country. And then we could launch bombs, you know, that might take, you know, maybe 4 hours, and we could hit somebody's mainland. All of that is null and void if this is true, because we now have alleged capacities to do these things instantaneously, or others can do it instantaneously to us. So the whistleblower said there's only 2 countries that have that technology. It's America and it's China. There's a whole bunch of rabbit holes about UFOs and reverse engineering and everything else. The one thing I would just caution us for is that deep state, our Gadianton robbers, because not everybody in government's bad, but I do believe we have factions that have gone rogue, and that group of people they're probably powerful enough that we will only know what they want us to know. So all of this could be a whole big pile of disinformation, but we got to get ready. So what I'm doing about it, yes, I'm learning about it, but today I'm coming into the greenhouse and we are actually revamping the greenhouse. And I'm taking out old growth. I'm putting in a whole bunch of mushroom compost. I'm making compost pits. I'm going to go back to the way the greenhouse was the first year that we had it, where we are planting weekly, harvesting daily. I'm threading the needle here. Things are on fire. All is not well. You need to wake up and you need to do something about it. So this is what I'm doing about it. I don't have a greenhouse. I can't afford it. Not everybody is a banker like you, Nate. Yeah, not everybody has 9 kids that are very expensive either. Wherever you are and whatever you do, you can do something. My message is not build a greenhouse. My message is to inform yourself and then do something about it. That's my message. There's hoop houses, there's grow beds. There's simply going out and buying food storage. Some people are on, a budget and things are tight. Inflation's horrible. That's one of the other things that I've been following is inflation. And what they're doing to us is they tax us through inflation. We print money, inflate all this debt away, but then you and I are stuck with unaffordability. How's it trying to get a house for you or your children or your grandchildren? It's a nightmare. So some people can't afford much, but you know what? You can get skilled. Right now, what I need more than anything in this world is I need my grandpa Ver. He passed away several years ago when I was on my mission. Ver Durfee was a absolute master gardener. He had a 1-acre garden that fed not only him and his adult children and then their children, all these families, and then he was constantly giving produce to the widows and those in need in his ward and in his neighborhood, in his town, because that man knew how to grow. I'm okay. My brother, unfortunately, I hate to admit this on YouTube, is a lot better than I am. And that is a challenge, Shawn. You're going down. But there's other people who have growing methodologies that I don't. If you have those, how valuable are you? I don't have a greenhouse. Yeah, you know how to grow potatoes. Yeah, you know how to fertilize. You know how to make compost pits. So there's many ways that you can prepare, and it's not all building a greenhouse. So that's my message. Things are really weird right now. It seems to me, personally, that we're being set up for a massive either false flag or a massive event. Another lady, an ex-CIA personality, I forgot her name, but she did also an interview on Shawn Ryan that's gone viral, because a couple weeks ago, she was using her prior contacts of working with the government. And, she says there is an active operation from, I can't say this out loud, so you're going to have to string the words together. ICE and also IS is the group who had over 1,000 informants in America that have snuck across the border ready to do a terrorist attack. Wow. Well, that stinks, because if the narrative is true, which I don't really believe anymore, the guy who went down Bourbon Street had the ICE and the IS flag on his truck. So, okay, if we believe your narrative, then that's one. So that's one of 1,000 people who are in our country ready to do a terrorist attack. So that means what happened on January 1st times 1,000 is coming. I don't know. We're either being set up for some kind of a false flag or some kind of a major deal. And if you prepare, you shall not fear. So it's why we do it. We don't do it out of fear. I hope none of this comes about. And I am a very prepared man who doesn't need my preps, but he's still having a lot of fun doing them. All right, like and subscribe. Videos like this, I can't tell you how much that means. And plus it lets me know you're out there We're all in this together. Let's learn. By the way, if you have garden tips, compost tips, any of that, put it in the comments. I need to learn.